Scrum. Course title: Scrum Fundamentals. Course description. This course provides an introduction to Scrum, which is an agile project management framework used for developing and delivering complex products. Students will learn the principles and practices of Scrum, including roles and responsibilities, artifacts, events, and tools. The course also covers best practices for implementing Scrum in real-world projects. Module 1: Introduction to Scrum. Overview of Scrum. Scrum is a popular agile framework used for software development, project management, and other collaborative work. It is based on the principles of transparency, inspection, and adaptation, and it promotes a flexible and iterative approach to delivering high-quality products. The core components of Scrum include: 1. Scrum Team, a small, self-organizing and cross-functional team responsible for delivering the product. It typically consists of a product owner, a Scrum Master, and development team members. 2. Product Owner represents the customer or stakeholder and is responsible for defining and prioritizing the product backlog, which is a prioritized list of work to be done. 3. Scrum Master facilitates the Scrum process, removes any impediments, and ensures that the Scrum team adheres to the Scrum practices and values. 4. Development Team, comprised of professionals who do the work of delivering a potentially releasable increment of the product during a sprint. 5. Sprint, a time-boxed iteration, typically 1 to 4 weeks long, during which the Scrum team works on a set of prioritized backlog items. 6. Sprint Planning, the Scrum team plans the work to be done during the sprint, identifies the backlog items to be worked on, and sets a sprint goal. 7. Daily Scrum, a short daily meeting where the development team synchronizes their work, discusses progress, and identifies any obstacles. 8. Sprint Review, at the end of the sprint, the Scrum team reviews the work completed and obtains feedback from stakeholders. 9. Sprint Retrospective, a reflection meeting held at the end of the sprint to identify what went well, what could be improved, and create a plan for implementing those improvements. 10. Product Backlog, a prioritized list of work to be done, maintained by the product owner, which represents the requirements, features, and enhancements of the product. 11. Increment, a potentially releasable piece of product functionality that is completed at the end of each sprint. Scrum emphasizes empirical process control, continuous improvement, and collaborative decision-making. It provides a framework for teams to deliver high-quality products in a flexible, iterative, and adaptive manner, fostering transparency and accountability among team members. Agile Principles and Values. Agile principles and values form the foundation of Agile methodologies, including Scrum. They guide the mindset, behaviors, and practices of Agile teams and organizations, promoting collaboration, flexibility, and continuous improvement. Here are the 12 principles and 4 values of Agile. Agile Principles. 1. Prioritize customer satisfaction through continuous delivery of valuable software. 2. Welcome changing requirements, even if they occurred late in the project. 3. Deliver working software frequently, with a preference for shorter timescales. 4. Collaborate with business stakeholders and build projects around motivated individuals. 5. Use face-to-face conversation as much as possible to convey information. 6. Measure progress primarily through working software and its value to customers. 7. Maintain a sustainable pace of work for the team. 8. Strive for technical excellence and good design. 9. Keep things simple and focus on what adds value. 10. Self-organize and empower the team to make decisions. 11. Reflect regularly on team performance and adjust as needed. 12. Embrace changes and use them to gain a competitive advantage. Agile Values. 1. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. 2. Working software over comprehensive documentation. 3. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. 4. Responding to change over following a plan. 5. These Agile principles and values emphasize customer centricity, flexibility, collaboration, and continuous improvement. They encourage Agile teams to be adaptable, self-organizing, and focused on delivering value to customers through working software. By following these principles and values, Agile teams aim to improve customer satisfaction, enhance team performance, and achieve better outcomes in complex and changing environments. Scrum framework and terminology. Scrum is an Agile framework used for software development and project management. It provides a set of practices and roles to enable teams to develop complex products in an iterative and collaborative manner. Here are some key terminologies and the framework of Scrum. 1. Product owner, the person responsible for representing the customer or stakeholder and defining and prioritizing the product backlog. 2. Scrum master, the facilitator of the Scrum process, responsible for removing obstacles, promoting Scrum practices, and ensuring that the team adheres to the Scrum framework. 3. Development team, the cross-functional team responsible for delivering a potentially releasable increment of the product during a sprint. 4. Product backlog, a prioritized list of work to be done, maintained by the product owner, which represents the requirements, features, and enhancements of the product. 5. Sprint, a time-boxed iteration, usually 1 to 4 weeks long, during which the development team works on a set of prioritized backlog items. 6. Sprint planning, a meeting held at the beginning of each sprint where the Scrum team plans the work to be done during the sprint, identifies the backlog items to be worked on, and sets a sprint goal. 7. Daily Scrum, a short, daily meeting where the development team synchronizes their work, discusses progress, and identifies any obstacles. 8. Sprint Review, a meeting held at the end of each sprint where the Scrum team reviews the work completed during the sprint and obtains feedback from stakeholders. 9. Sprint Retrospective, a reflection meeting held at the end of each sprint to identify what went well, what could be improved, and create a plan for implementing those improvements. 10. Increment, a potentially releasable piece of product functionality that is completed at the end of each sprint. 11. Artifact, a tangible outcome or work product created during the Scrum process, including the product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. 12. Scrum, a short, daily meeting where the development team synchronizes their work, discusses. 13. Definition of done, a shared understanding within the team of the quality criteria that must be met for a product backlog item to be considered complete. 14. Burn down chart, a visual representation of the remaining work in the sprint backlog or product backlog over time, used to track progress. 15. Sprint goal, a concise objective set by the Scrum team for the sprint, which helps guide the team's work and focus during the sprint. These are some of the key terminologies and the overall framework of Scrum. Scrum provides a flexible and iterative approach to product development with a focus on collaboration, transparency, and continuous improvement. Scrum versus traditional project management. Scrum, as an Agile framework, differs from traditional project management approaches in several key ways. Here are some of the main differences between Scrum and traditional project management. Flexibility versus predictability. Traditional project management follows a predictive or waterfall approach, where the project scope, timeline, and budget are defined upfront and any changes require formal change management. In contrast, Scrum embraces change and uncertainty, allowing for flexibility and adaptability throughout the project. Scrum teams work in short, time-boxed iterations, sprints, and regularly inspect and adapt their plans based on feedback and changing requirements. Iterative and incremental versus sequential. Scrum follows an iterative and incremental approach, where work is divided into small, manageable chunks and delivered in increments during sprints. Traditional project management typically follows a sequential approach, where each phase of the project, such as planning, design, development, testing, and deployment, is completed one after the other, often with minimal feedback loops. Empirical process control versus plan-driven approach. Scrum is an empirical process control framework, where decisions are based on observations and feedback from the team's work. Traditional project management relies on a plan-driven approach, where decisions are based on predetermined plans and processes. Self-organizing teams versus hierarchical structure. Scrum promotes self-organizing teams, where the development team has autonomy and accountability to make decisions on how to complete the work. Traditional project management often follows a hierarchical structure with strict roles and responsibilities, where decisions are made by project managers or other stakeholders. Collaborative approach versus command and control. Scrum encourages collaborative and cross-functional teamwork, with a focus on open communication and shared responsibility. Traditional project management often involves a top-down, command and control approach, where decisions are made by managers and communicated downward to the team. Continuous improvement versus fixed plan. Scrum promotes a culture of continuous improvement, with regular opportunities for inspection and adaptation through sprint reviews and retrospectives. Traditional project management tends to follow a fixed plan and relies on formal change management processes for any adjustments. Customer collaboration versus contract negotiation. Scrum emphasizes active customer collaboration and involvement throughout the project, with the product owner representing the customer and providing continuous feedback. Traditional project management may rely more on contract negotiation and formal requirements documentation. Overall, Scrum and traditional project management approaches have fundamental differences in their mindset, practices, and values. Scrum is well suited for complex and dynamic projects where requirements are likely to change, and a flexible, collaborative, and iterative approach is preferred. Traditional project management may be more suitable for projects with well-defined requirements and stable environments. It's important to choose the approach that best aligns with the nature of the project and the needs of the team and organization.